G'day ladies and gents, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome to the video that I have been trying to make for about 2 bloody months at this point in time, and just seem to constantly have something else pop up that keeps interrupting. So I'm going to try and keep this as short and as to the point as I can as I run through it, but there has been a lot going on since the last time I spoke about like condition or anything else on the channel. So it's been that much that's going on, I'm not entirely sure where to begin. Probably best to start last video. So, the last video, you guys threw in a surprising number of donations that I was still blown away about in order to help me be able to pick up the contact lenses that I need. The visual prosthetics is actually the technical term, the mini screw contact lenses. So, I got the lenses. I got the lenses not too long after the not too long after that video. The order came in fairly quickly because they had all my files on record. They were ready to rock and roll. The lenses arrived within a couple of days. If you hear any odd background sounds here at the moment too, there's actually a thunderstorm running right outside at the moment. It's friggin' weird here at the moment. It was 30 degrees here yesterday, end of spring leading into summer. Hugely warm, and then it's dropped down to sub 20, and we've got a thunderstorm running outside the very next day. Mother Nature's gone bipolar as shit around here at the moment. But anyways, the lenses had arrived, and there was never going to be any video on that, because it was never going to be a, oh my god, I can see type thing, because I knew what I was going into beforehand. So it was very much lenses in, adjust them a couple of times to make sure they're comfortable. I did have a small moment where I, using both eyes for the first time in 15 years, it was a very minor moment, and then it very quickly hit me exactly how out of alignment my eyes were. I had the weirdest, most evil case of double vision that you can imagine, because my left eye was not seeing things on a level plane, as I've explained in previous videos. Because of the lack of use of my left eye over a long period of time, that was actually on an angle, so it was like the horizon was like on a 20-degree tilt through the left eye. The right eye, which I had been using, was seeing the horizon correctly, but it was looking at it in an odd way, and because it's been so long since I've actually had to try and use both eyes at the same time, I actually couldn't focus on a single point, not clearly. So the vision was out of alignment as the brain was trying to work out how to use both eyes at the same time and make them do the same thing like anybody else would. So that was a weird thing, and we immediately jumped into testing for that, just to start trying to see what I could see and start working out what exercises I could do to train my eyes how to focus on things again, because I essentially need to reteach my entire brain and my eyes how to function. And so that was pretty much the next 2 weeks, trying to teach my eyes how to work again. It's going to take longer than that. It's actually going to probably take a year to a couple of years before I've actually finally got everything back to where it should be. And I was explaining that the really fine point details are going to take a really long time. But in the short form, at least a couple of weeks to start getting things out. And even now, we're 2 months on, and I've noticed, especially if I'm tired, if I'm sitting in a spot, my brain will just, if I relax for a moment, my brain will just forget how to control my eyes, and I immediately split into double vision as both my eyes just come out of alignment, and I've got to sort of concentrate to bring them back in. So it's weird, but it is what it is. This is part of the deal. But during this testing phase, we ran into another problem. So my initial recommendation was to wear these lenses as often as I possibly could, which is fine. I'm used to wearing lenses. I've got a fairly high pain tolerance, and so we started. I basically wore the lenses from the moment I've got out of bed to the moment I went to bed. Shouldn't be an issue. Until a couple of weeks into the testing, when I had a moment where my vision fogged out, like having a white screen pulled across my eyes, even when the lenses weren't in, and my eyes became super sensitive and swollen. They went ridiculously bloodshot. I've got some photos. I'll try and post them up, although they're difficult to take because it's hard to be able to take photos when you can't see, because I can't wear contacts during this, as will become apparent. What was actually happening, as it turned out, is I was overwearing the lenses, and while my pain tolerance for what's going on in my eyes is high enough that I can wear the lenses permanently, the eye itself will react regardless, and I was actually causing inflammation in my own cornea, which is what was happening. When my vision was whiting out, my cornea was inflaming, and when that was happening, wearing the lenses suddenly became extremely painful, far beyond my normal pain tolerances, and I couldn't wear them at all. I had to take the lenses out, and there was about a 2-day period where I couldn't wear them at all. In addition to that, because the cornea itself would inflame, it caused, as I said a moment ago, like a white screen, like a white fog across the entirety of my vision. Now, I'm already legally blind, or I'm clinically blind. I'm just blind without these lenses in. But I can still function around my house because I know where everything is, and over the years I've learned how to, without having lenses in, identify the different shades and blobs of what I can see to work out where things are and be able to function with that environment. I can't do it outside of my house, but inside of my house I'm very particular where I keep everything, so I'm able to function. Well, with this white fog over my vision, I couldn't see a lot of the telltales that I normally rely on. So for a 2-day period, until the cornea sort of stopped inflaming and returned to normal, I couldn't actually even function inside of my own house. I was reliant on I basically sat on a couch for 2 days, with my eyes feeling like they were on fire, listening to podcasts and ebooks, with my wife having to use my phone to select the podcasts and ebooks because I couldn't even navigate that. There was nothing I could do. So that wasn't fun. And so we did an initial batch of testing, because obviously there's a couple of things we want to know at this point. For starters, why are my eyes inflaming? Because that's bad. Is this doing any major damage to my eyes? Because obviously having somebody with a condition like mine that's based entirely around the cornea, having the cornea inflame, not a great thing. So is this doing any long-term damage? There is a potential here that I can't wear these lenses at all because of what's happening. So as it turns out, I can wear the lenses. No, the inflammation of the cornea is not causing any long-term damage. Everything is returning to where it should be when it does. Obviously, it's not something we want to happen often, if at all, if possible, but it's not causing any long-term damage. And the issue was how often that I was wearing the lenses. I was just overwearing them to the point where I could tolerate it because I have a relatively high pain tolerance, but my eyes couldn't, and they were reacting. So I had a time restriction placed on how long I can wear the lenses for. So this is where I'm up to now, and I'm still following this as closely as I can now. But basically my time restriction is 10 hours a day with at least a 1 to 2 hour break in the middle, preferably with 1 day per week that I don't wear the lenses at all. Although that is optional. It is recommended. It is not necessary. So I do hit and miss that one a little bit, which initially I thought was fine. So the breakdown is basically I put the lenses in the morning, I wear them for 4 hours. Once per hour I take the lenses out, change the saline fluid that's inside of them, put them back in. At 4 hours I take them out. I usually try and time this up so this is about lunchtime for an early lunch. I have 1 to 2 hours over lunch where I don't have the lenses in at all. Usually I'm just listening to a podcast, an ebook, whatever, and having whatever I'm having for lunch. I try and set my lunch up before I take the lenses out, so I don't need the lenses in to actually manage lunch. Then after lunch, I put the lenses back in, and I go for a further 6 hours, then I take them out, day's done. So I can wear the lenses for about a standard working day plus commute, is about all the time that I've got that I can actually see per day, and anything that requires my vision has to be done in that 10-hour period. It's not great, but that is what it is. So that was another month's worth of testing, both the medical testing to work out whether or not that was going to be damaging my corneas, and to work out what the solution was, and to test to see if that works. And I've only had one episode where the corneas have inflamed since then, and it just happened to be in a period of time where I had a lot going on, and so I was wearing for about 15 hours a day, and I did not take a break for a week, and then I had an episode where I couldn't see for 2 days. So go back to the 10 hours, haven't had an episode since. So it's definitely an overwear issue. This is just, I now have a time limit on my vision. So that's fun. So that brings me up to about 2 weeks ago now in terms of the testing. Now about 2 weeks ago, I had an appointment with another specialist who wanted to have a look at my eyes following the medical test we did regarding the inflamed cornea. And he's looking over my eyes, and he's first astounded that my condition kicked in so early, because it is incredibly rare that my condition kicked in at the age I was at. Like, I had the first telltale signs of this condition when I was still in my teens. It is normally not a condition that shows up until you're in your late 20s. At least your late 20s, sometimes 30s. So it's odd that I saw it that early. It's odd that it's also still progressing at the age that I'm currently at, because I am now 40, on my way to 41. Fuck, I know I'm ancient, it's terrible, but it is what it is. Time gives no breaks for anybody. But yeah, it's odd that I'm still progressing at this stage. And so he's starting to do an initial testings for a experimental surgery to try and stop the progression. Now, the experimental surgery, and this is, my eyes have slowed in their progression, but they haven't stopped, and he wants to make it stop dead. I don't know if I'm going to do this surgery, but I am going to go through at least with the initial test to have a look and see exactly what it's all about. Because this surgery will not correct my vision, or it is highly unlikely to see any kind of improvement with my vision. It is more likely to actually see a reduction in the vision that I have, and it also comes with a fairly significant chance of just losing my vision altogether, as in they carve my eyeball out, cut the optic nerve and throw it in the bin because it's knackered, at about a 10% chance, which doesn't sound particularly high, and it's a 1 in 10 shot that you never see daylight again, which is it's not good numbers. It's higher than the numbers that I was given many years ago, before COVID took away a surgery chance, which was at 5%. So I've got a 10% on this. What it will do is potentially stop the progression by essentially doing a corneal replacement surgery with a special type of grown cornea, but they don't completely replace my existing cornea. They peel it like an onion until there's only one layer of it left over my eye, and then they graft this grown replacement over the top. Which could see a whole bunch of other side effects, and there's still a chance of rejection and a whole bunch of other things as well. But I'll be honest, I'm not even sure what the details of the name of this particular surgery is, and I'm not sure if it's details. I've only briefly gone over it. I'm still yet to have the appointment with the surgeon in Melbourne, who will explain the details and give me all the information on the entire thing. But that's where I'm up to now, and that's what's been going on for the last 2 weeks. I've been seeing a new specialist who's been running through all this information, and this is the recommendation he's giving. I'm honestly not sure I'm going to take it. 10%'s a really big number. As a single digit was high enough risk for me. It's a double digit chance of just losing my vision, and I don't know. So I'm gonna at least find out what the information is first and have a good think about it. But yeah. Anyways, that's been my last 2 months. That's why everything's been really sketch on the channel, and there hasn't been a lot going on. Every single time I've sort of gotten to a point where I'm like, hey, I can make a video about this now. We'll talk about it. I got these new lenses. I had issues with the lenses, which involve testing, all right? Or I find out what's going on with the testing and then run into another issue and so on and so on. And that's sort of where I've been. So that's why nobody's seen me on the channel. It's also a bit of an issue now to make videos, because I've got to work out how I'm going to do this now, because I only have about a 10-hour window every day to fit in everything that requires me to be able to see. So I need to... But budgeting time, which is something that I'm generally not very good at, is something that has just become very, very, very important in my life, because I need to be super tight with everything now, because I have to help my missus with what she's trying to do. I've got to try and get my business launching, which I am progressing on. I am progressing on that. Actually, I should have a design up fairly soon. I'm working on something for Halloween, so that should be pretty cool. But it's time to work on my designs and do that kind of stuff. I've now got to do the YouTube channel, and I've got to have time with my family, and I have a 10-hour window every day with a break in the middle to be able to fit it in. So, yeah. Not going to lie, the last 2 months have been really stressful, and there has been a chunk in the middle of it there while I've been in between all these tests where I probably could have made videos, and honestly, I sat back and played Baldur's Gate 3 in Starfield, because I just wasn't in the mood. I didn't even know what I was going to do. So that's my bad, and I apologize for that. I am going to try and get back onto it. I've got Cold Waters must be finished. That submarine's been sitting for a long time. I have actually gotten through that little blockade now. I'm actually at the mission zone, so that will be the next video. But yeah, there's a lot going on this end, and I'm not going to say it has not been stressful and somewhat emotional as well. Yeah, for obvious reasons. Anyways, I just wanted to give everybody an update on that. I've been getting a huge number of messages from people saying, hey, what's going on? Are you okay? You know, yes, this is, well, I'm as okay as I can be. This is what's been happening. I just wanted to answer those questions for everybody. This isn't a call out for help for anyone. There's nothing anybody can do at this point. You've all done more than enough to help me. I'm just... yeah, this is where I'm at now, and I just have to work out what the next steps are and work out how to manage the situation that I'm now in, and that's just taking a little bit. Hopefully I'll be back on track soon and everything will be running smoothly. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. Seems like a really odd way to end it. It's normally how I would end a video, but it doesn't really seem appropriate here. But I hope you found it informative. Thanks for watching. Thanks for your help, everybody. And yeah, I'm going to try and get Cold Waters up this week anyway and get back to it, because I know a lot of people are waiting for that one. And, well, I think there's definitely going to be... I spoke a little while ago about there being potentially some new content on the channel. I think that is absolutely going to be a thing now, because, well, I'm going to need to work out a whole new way of doing content, because spending 8 hours editing is not really an option for me anymore, like I used to on the old videos that I did. So yeah, I'm gonna have to work out how to be a lot more efficient. Anyways guys, see you in the next one, and take care.